Come along as I refinish this vintage Stanley 9-drawer dresser. It's been through a lot. It was a utility dresser in the garage for a while. I was gifted this dresser by my nephew. It's got some missing chunks and big scratches, little chunks out of the drawers. But we're going to change all that. First thing I need to do though is play some drawer Jenga. Vintage drawers want to be in their home, and so I try to do this in the beginning to figure out where they all go, because they slide better, they just fit better when they're in their spot. And then I need to remove this hardware. Some of it's broken, so I can't reuse it. And these are the worst screws. They look like Phillips, but they're not. But thankfully I now have a screwdriver that has an attachment for it, so it works out perfect. Okay, now that they live in their spot, we're gonna number them so they go back where they came. I now see that I have a couple of drawer guides that are broken. Most of the others are okay. I think they're going to be fine. Just 2 of them, it looks like. So I need to get everything cleaned up, vacuum it, wipe it all out. But I'm noticing that some of the they're actually just like thumbtacks right there. There's a bunch of them that are missing. And so that makes those drawers slide differently and rub. So I got to replace those. Time for a good cleaning before we get started. And then I'm going to go ahead and hook this up to my vacuum. So I take that off. This is an attachment that I got on Amazon that makes my shop vac attached to my sander. This is the best thing ever. Some serious grit 120s going on. This is great sandpaper. And I just want to kind of test this finish and see, what am I working with here? Is this going to be quick? And no. So to the carbide scraper we go. So my carbide scraper needs a new blade. I hate to say it, it's dull. So this is gonna just take some serious elbow grease. And I took the dresser even off the wheels, so I had some leverage. And this is just taking a while. Yeah, I could use stripper, I know. I don't like stripper, so this is what I'm working with here. So I did as much as I could because I was sweating seriously and my arms were just toast. So I decided to do a little more sanding. And sometimes when you sand a little, the carbide scraper gets a little bit more it grabs on better. So I sanded, scraped, and got it done. Okay, onto a contour scraper. See, the heads come off and I can find one that actually goes in this little concave area. And I get that attached on there, and then I can scrape this edge because sanders don't work in that area, even my surf prep. So if I scrape that first, now it just gets me ready for hand sanding, but a lot less. So these are the rubber contour blocks that I use just to really get in there and sand that. I'm misting everything with water. One, I want to see this wood grain. And I'm also looking at all the different wood varieties. Look at that. A couple different there, different colors. Different one there, different one there, couple more there. So this is the rainbow dresser, but it's all right. I'm working with it. Now I'm anxious to see what those drawers look like without this finish on it. So thankfully these sanded off pretty easy. I didn't want to use the carbide scraper here because of the directions of the veneer. But love it. Yes. While I have all the drawers out, I'm also going to, of course, sand the finish off the sides, but also clean up the dovetails. Just make that beautiful. And while I'm sanding this one, I'm like, what is wrong with the edge of this drawer? So I get my carbide scraper to take this off, and it's packaging tape. Well, thankfully, the packaging tape is not structural. Someone had repaired this drawer that had broken, and I'm so happy they saved the piece because sometimes I get them and that piece is missing, which is a challenge. But this one's here. They had glued it actually, and then the packaging tape was probably just there to hold the glue. And structurally, that was all good to go. So now I'm taking some quick wood epoxy, which is 2 parts. You just pinch off what you need. See, there's light and dark, and you just pinch off what you need, and then you mix it. And that starts the chemical process so that it will set. Now you have a lot of working time with quickwood. This is not like Bondo where you're really limited. Quickwood actually takes quite a while to set, but you do need to mix it really well. And I could use Bondo here, but the reason I'm using Quickwood is because this is really thick. It's like putty. It's like clay, really. And so I can really shape it and form it how I want on these corners that are broken. Now, if these were any bigger, I would probably need to put some nails in for some support, and I may use Bondo, but it was really just the front of this. I had a little bit of structure to put this Quickwood on, so I wasn't worried about that, but I just needed to now make this a corner. So I had 3 drawers or 3 corners that were just completely chunked off of there, so I had to replace all of that. Quickwood's great. It does take longer to set, so this is going to need some time, and I usually give it a couple of hours. In the meantime, back to sanding, because now I need to do the base and the rest of it, and a different head on this contour scraper so that I could do this other area. This was a great tool for this dresser. It just saves so much sanding time. Okay, now that the Quickwood has set, I can go ahead and sand it down and shape that corner back. So it was quite a big chunk missing, and here we are, completely stripped, everything's repaired. So I'm taking a wood blending kit, and these are little syringes that have different colors in them. And I probably use 3 or 4 different colors to get this to blend. My only issue, because this blended fantastic, but I wasn't done. Next time, I need to wait until after the paint wash to do this and not before. So note to self and to you that if you're going to do that, do it after this paint wash. Now I'm using a blend of a couple different melange paints for paint wash. You can use anything that you want for a tan wash or a white wash. I like tan wash. And after that dried, I gave it a light little sand with a 330 grit sponge, and this is top coat. So I'm doing top coat, then I'll sand and top coat. I did 3 coats of top coat. Time to address these guides that are broken. Take the old one off. I bought some on Amazon that were the same style, so I just need to custom fit them. Looking pretty good. So drill the hole, and then I can install them. This was a simple fix. I'm so happy that there's a company now that's making these vintage slides. Perfect fit. Installing new hardware. The new hardware I got to go on this area is wider, and it actually covers the existing holes. So I didn't have to fill in the holes and try to blend them because the old hardware was broken. And I'm going to go ahead and line the drawers. Several of the drawers had big, oily, greasy stains in them, so I wasn't able to fix it. But I cut my wallpaper to size so that all I have to do is put it in and fit it. I don't have to cut around the edges or anything. So I measure carefully and cut it to size, and then use a plastic scraper to make sure everything's in there really well. And I did all 9 drawers. Oh my goodness, this took forever, and even the dogs were like, "Come on, Mom, are you done yet?" Let's take a look back at where we started, and this is where we are. I just love this new sophisticated look. It has the old vintage charm, but bright and fresh, and that hardware was perfect, covered the old holes. Love it. And if you love this type of content, be sure to follow for more.